Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into Jon B's legendary Up All Night, released in 2000 on the iconic Metalheadz label, a rave anthem that truly shaped the drum and bass scene. Beyond Up All Night, Jon B is also known for classics like Secrets and was one of the pioneers of electro step, cementing his influence on electronic music. If you want to check out more of his work, be sure to follow him on YouTube and Twitch where he does regular live streams. Links down below. In this video, we'll be recreating the track's signature sound, sampling that piano rave stab, nailing those melodies, pads, drums, and bass lines. So there's plenty of foundational production skills here for every beginner. And before we jump in, a quick reminder, over 50% of you aren't subscribed yet, so hit that button now. It's the easiest way to support the channel and never miss an upload. All right, let's dive in. Alright, first and foremost, let's work on that famous rave piano stab melody. Now that piano stab sample is actually from an old school techno track from 1991. The track is Vamp by Outlander. And here's the piano sample. Now we're going to sample one slice of that piano. Now here's an important aspect of sampling. Every hit sounds slightly different. There's nuances to every note. So pick the one that sounds best to you. I'm going to choose this slice over here and then pop it up over here. And now I can create my own melody with my MIDI keyboard. And here's the basis of the piano stab melody. The basis of the piano stab melody is the concept of the dotted eighth note. Essentially, we're going to be repeating the piano stab in dotted eighths. First, draw a regular eighth note and then extend that note by a half. That's a dotted eighth note now. And we're going to be using this pattern repeatedly. So we're going to first do this. So now we're going to repeat this section. So we have a fake triplet here, and then we're going to repeat this. And this time we're going to do it another time here, except this time we're going to duplicate it all the way across. And then we're going to fill in this last note with a regular eighth note. So now we have this pattern. Now for this first fake triplet, let's remove these two notes, and then we're going to have a regular quarter note like that. And then we're going to mute this note or delete it. And then on the second bar of this pattern, that piano stab moves up chromatically like this. So that's the first half of the melody. Now let's duplicate this pattern. And then we're going to bring these notes down here and remove this last note. So now we have this. And just for some funk, we're going to double up these two notes here. Now I've shortened all the notes for a staccato vibe like this. Now let's go into your sampler and into the amplitude envelope over here, which is on the far right. And you want to set the releases long enough to allow that piano to have a little bit of a tail. So I say 200 milliseconds, and you can click on this word release here. And this brings up another set of options where you can adjust the slope. I usually set it to 0, so it's a straight slope. And then let's add some effects. Now with some delay and some reverb, this is how it sounds. Now remember, as I said earlier, if you sampled a different stab, it'll have slightly different nuance. So over here, I sampled this version. Let's hear the difference. Let's go back to the beginning, this one. Notice the tone and character is a bit different, so choose the one that sounds best to you. Also, keep in mind each sample is playing a different note, so you'll either need to change the root note accordingly, or you're going to have to start at a different note on the key roll. So this one, I set the note to A#2, where the other one is at F2. By the way, if you're looking for this piano rave stab, you can download it for free down in the links below. On to that menacing Reese. Now that Reese bassline is actually sampled from Ed Rush and Optical's Lokuste remix, otherwise known as Cut Slow. So shouts out to them. So I put the sample straight into my sampler, and here's the note. Now notice that I looped the sample at this point here so it can play indefinitely. And my root note is set to D3. Just a note, sometimes if you're looping, it may cause clicking. So you can use this crossfade and now crossfade the beginning and ends of the loop so there's no clicking. Now I just added some EQing to this bass line to bring up some of those highs and mids. And then sometimes channel EQ is a good tool for quick EQ movements. Now here's the 4-bar pattern where the latter half of it is empty, allowing room for call and response. We're simply going from a D sharp down to a bottom D sharp and up to the F sharp. To support the channel directly, check out 𝗤𝗢𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 down in the links below for sample packs, preset packs, and Ableton kits to help you along your journey. You can check out the Deviant Audio Production Suite, which contains 12 of our previously released packs, all at 50% off. This includes Serum preset packs, Vital preset packs, sample packs, and Ableton kits, all in the bundle. Also, if you're looking for nasty bass Serum presets, check out Gnarly Volume 1 and 2, which has the latest and nastiest bass sounds. And if you're looking for breakbeats, check out 𝗤𝗔𝗘𝗦𝗙𝗙 Sample Pack, the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Fragments, and Hybrid Sample Pack. To learn more, check the links down below. Next up is that bleep melody in that intro. That's simply playing a square wave. So I'm using Ableton's analog and set it to the square wave shape here. And let's look at the melody. And this is the pattern here. Notice here, these notes here. The distance, again, is a dotted eighth note. So hopefully you guys are seeing a pattern here. Now playing this in full, this pattern plays 4 times and then the notes change over here. And then with some echo and reverb. All 3 layers together. Building on the intro, there's a nostalgic pad playing underneath everything. Now this pad is playing a minor 9th chord. And remember, this track is written in the key of D sharp minor. So if you're lacking musical theory, it's really easy to find the minor 9th chord if you have Ableton. Simply set the key of your scale, which is D sharp, and set it to minor, and then hit this little icon here, which allows you to fold your key roll by scale by hitting the scale button. This hides every note that does not belong to D sharp minor. First and foremost, you want to build a minor triad, which is the basic chord of any key, and starting with D sharp, it's every other note. Now, adding a 4th note, this would be called the 7th. The way this works is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8, 9. So there's your D sharp minor 9th chord. And then now that we have this chord, you can unfold it, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this chord and then we're gonna transpose it down to C. Now this pad is currently playing just a simple sawtooth waveform. To fatten up, let's increase the unison mode up to 6 if you like, and then add some detuning to spread and widen that sound. And then employing a low pass filter, we're going to shave off all that top end. And then add some reverb and EQing. And I think we may want to shift this an octave down. So going back down to this, let's select all the notes, shift and down brings it down an octave. Now, the way I programmed this, there is some release with 500 milliseconds. And because there's some release, there's some overlap in between the chords. So what you can do is just add a little bit of space before the next note starts, and that should alleviate that. Of course, you can adjust the cutoff to taste. And you can feel that nostalgia. Now, in a lot of 90s music, especially in older house and rave tracks, we use a super high string, oftentimes an orchestral string, that adds depth and added nostalgia to the vibe. And oftentimes it's playing just one or even just a couple notes here. So we have this high string here and simply playing this melody. And the second part just repeats itself, except the A this time just goes an octave higher. But hearing it in context with the pad will make a lot more sense. Are you just feeling those vibes? Now, throughout the track, this kind of old school 303 bass melody comes in and adds a little bit of rhythm to the vibe. So I found this old school rave bass here. Reminds me of the LFO warehouse bass sound. It's just simply playing this melody here. Once again, remember that pattern. We're seeing that dotted eighth note in between. So this section here, dotted eighth, dotted eighth. This one is the whole quarter note. And it's just simply playing the key of this track, which is D sharp, and then going down an octave on the very last note. And I simply added some echoing in context. Now, just one more sound that's hidden in this track, which is an old school rave Hoover sample. Now, I couldn't find the exact sample, so I attempted to replicate that sound. I believe that sound was probably created on the classic and legendary synth from the 90s or even 80s, the Roland Juno Alpha 2. And a lot of these old school Hoovers are either created by Sawtooth or Square Wave. I believe with this one, I was hinted by my buddy Fringe that it's likely a square wave with some pulse width modulation. So when we talk about pulse width modulation, essentially what we're meaning is we're kind of squeezing the left and right half of the waveform. So these are different, I guess, slices when you modulate the pulse width. So this one, I guess, negative polarity is a lot shorter. So it sounds more nasal. Now with pulse width modulation, you can use an envelope or LFO and modulate the width. So over here, I'm using the LFO and I'm moving it up. I'm making it grow like that. And let's increase it, the unison mode, to make it sound wider using a mode of 3. And then let's employ some effects to really beef up the sound. We got some multiband, phaser, filter, EQ. All right, and then here's the note. It's simply playing a C here, and then I'm using MPE. So MPE allows us to draw these note slides. Just make sure if you're using Serum that MPE mode is enabled here. Right, so now when you go in here and select the MPE panel, select the note that you can draw in points on the line. And that sounds nice to me. Now I'm going to remove the bottom end using an EQ. And I love using this Arteria's pre-1973. It's a simple EQ here to add some analog warmth to the sound. Let's hear it in context with the Reese and piano. All Alright, onto the drums, and with the drums we have 3 layers. The main break is a break from my new and upcoming sample pack called Vaults. Vaults is a collection of all the samples I created or recorded over 20 years ago for my personal tracks. Here's a couple of breaks from Vaults. So we're going to be using this changeling break from my track Changeling. And for those that know me, you'll know that I like chopping up my breaks in MIDI using the RX2 file, which allows me to resequence the break to a 2-step pattern like this. And then I'm using drum bus to beef it up. And then I'm using that pre-1973 for that analog warmth. And then the main kick and snare is sampled off Alien Girl. I don't know if that's what John B used, but to me, that's what sounded the closest. If you're looking for the Alien Girl break, you can find it in the Icons sample pack, which is a free sample pack which you can grab with any purchase of a product at our shop. Here's the break. Finally, I have this Process Hot Pants break from another sample pack and resequenced it, so it's just the shakers. So notice that usually you have kicks and snares in these positions, but I remove the kick and snares and replace them with hi-hats. And then layer together, drums sound like this. And then I group the drums together. I'm using standard clip to square off all the peaks. Here's Sci-Scope here as my oscilloscope off. All right, that's a nice sounding break. All right, now that we have all the parts, let's put it into an arrangement. Now, the only piece we're missing is the vocal, and I'm not really sure where the vocal is from, so I simply used a vocal extractor. And if you're looking for a good vocal extractor, I recommend using Ultimate Vocal Remover, otherwise known as 𝗬𝗎𝗎𝗡, tipped by my good friend 𝗤𝗙𝗘𝗦 and used by a lot of top industry names in the scene. It is for free, believe it or not, because it's open source, and there's different models. Each algorithm sounds a bit different. I believe the cleanest we found was this algorithm, 𝗬𝗎𝗎𝗢 Net Instrumental HQ3. I think this one also sounds good, MDX23C Instrumental Vocal High Quality. Just make sure if you have a GPU, it's better to do it with the GPU so it's faster, and then select what stem you want. Here are my settings. You can just screenshot it for best use case. And here's the vocal extracted. Sounds pretty clean. Now the arrangement is very simple. The only thing that's we should pay note of, it's got a super long intro with over, I believe, 96 bars, which creates a lot of tension and build up before that drop. And simply various sounds are introduced during this section here. Now when the Reese comes in, we introduce a low pass filter. And I'm just simply using EQ8 and automating the low pass filter sweep here, over here like that. Another thing is we've bounced the break to audio so that we can reverse it for this little drum edit over here. Also for tension, that pad melody becomes just one long note along with the string here. And you'll see as we play the arrangement, what sounds are introduced. Notice the use of 16 bar blocks, which is pretty fundamental to drum and bass. Every 16, a sound is introduced or a sound exits. So now that we have the main part of the arrangement, let's hear the track in full. Oh yeah, bring the rave on. Big up to John B. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed watching me recreate the legendary classic by John B, Up All Night. Remember all the techniques we used today, from sampling the rave piano staff to recreating that piano melody, the bass line, and even the minor ninth chords. Lots of fundamental exercises here, especially for the beginner, to make sure you practice and improve. My name is 𝗦𝗔𝗘𝗦𝗧, music producer of over 25 years with music on Metalheadz, Hospital Records, and Critical Music. And if you want to improve your music production, especially in dance music and drum and bass, then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support this channel directly, check out 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗢𝗡 for sample packs, preset packs, and ableton kits to help you along your journey. You can find more down in the links below. And if you want to see me recreate more legendary drum and bass tracks, check this playlist up here. And if you want to get more into sound design, check this playlist up here. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay creative and peace out.